So I want to share with you one of yoga's simple but deeply helpful breathing techniques. And what yoga explains to us very clearly in many ways is that the breath is fundamental to mental and emotional and physical well-being. I'm not going to concentrate on the physical so much because by the time we're hitting menopause or perimenopause, most of us have realised that the thing that has the most impact on our health is actually our mental attitude. We've probably all had phases in our life that we've been skinnier than we are now, for sure, or phases that perhaps we've had more friends or there's some external circumstance that was better. Doesn't in any way indicate that we were happier. Our happiness, our sense of well-being is fundamentally seated in our mind. And what yoga goes on to say is that the mind is influenced very heavily by the breath. So there's this intimate connection between the breath, the mind, and our emotions. And you can probably all really simply relate to that if you think of what happens when you get a fright. You hold your breath. Your body just does that for you. You don't get a fright and think, oh, I'm going to hold my breath. It's an automatic response. So the same thing is when you get agitated or worried or anxious, your thoughts are going fast is what happens, and your breath becomes shallow and rapid. You don't decide, I'm going to do that. It happens. So when your mind is calm and relaxed, you're engaged in something that you like having a bath, gardening, surfing, whatever it is that brings you pleasure, your breathing pattern will have become slow and deep. So yoga is fantastic. It's so intelligent. It's 5,000 years old wisdom, which is still bang on today. And what it acknowledges is that changing your thoughts is it's really tricky. Any of you have even tried to start watching your thought or take up the initial steps toward meditation? The mind moves at lightning speed. Honestly, you can have so many thoughts within a second. So rather than doing that, just bang on straight into your mind, yoga says take the easy path. Use your breath to influence your mind. It's really easy to control your breath. It's one of the few responses in the body that can either be completely under the body's control, autonomic nervous system, or you can step in with your conscious mind and take control of your breath. So in yoga, there is a huge emphasis on using your breath to alter the state of mind. So there's many techniques. I want to teach you one in this video because I think it's one of the quickest, fastest ones to really address when we're becoming spaced out, when we're becoming agitated, when we've become uncentered. And the breath I want to teach you is called ujai. Some people say ujai. Actually, it officially is ujai breath, translated as the victorious breath of union. And that's actually important because what it is, it's that union means that your mind and your body come back together, which is the same as being present, which is the same as being centered, being here now. And we all know that the magic only happens when you're present. So this ujjayi breath is what it does. It has a sound element to it. You're making a breath that you can hear. It becomes very audible. So the minute you do that, your senses, your sense of hearing is engaged immediately with your breath. And yoga says quite simply, that these senses, our sight, sound, smell, feeling, they're all going out there a million miles an hour, sort of tasting, feeling, smelling, all these things, and the mind just gets incredibly busy. So if we can tame the senses, get them to come back into the present, the mind will drop in stillness as well. So this breath, you make a sound, and that sound, you then deeply, deeply listen to it. So the process of making the breath, there's two ways to practice it or learn it. The first way is how I teach most of my students, and most of them get it straight off, but I'll show you two ways just in case the first one doesn't work. And it is a little bit weird, it is one of the weirder aspects of yoga. So probably do it in privacy. So what I encourage my students to do is hold out their hand in front of them and with an open mouth just to go breathe onto your hand. So do that a couple of times. Okay. Then you drop the hand and do the same thing. And again. Now you would have started hearing that. There's a sound. Now what I want you to do is you're going to completely zip your lips and just make that sound. You go. You'll notice probably it's easier to do it on the exhale. If you might start making funny kind of noises like this. When you inhale, it's okay, you'll get used to it, relax. Or if you need to open your mouth for the inhale, you can do that. So what's happening, if you're one of those people who like to know what's happening to your physical body, your epiglottis is closing off. It's this little thing in your throat here. So by doing that breath, or think of it as Darth Vader, that helps some people. Like that's the second way I was going to say it. Some people can't quite get it the first time, but then if they remember Darth Vader and the idea and the feeling that you're breathing through their throat, it's suddenly like, oh, yeah, I can do that. So I'll just make the sound again one more time, so you really, and do it along with me, so you really get the feel of it. Okay, now that is enough to bring you back to the present. Sometimes we think things need to be complicated, time-consuming, difficult to be effective. They don't. I've been practicing yoga for 30 years and teaching yoga for over 20 years. That ujai breath that I've just taught you then is one of the really powerful tools yoga can give you. You can take it anywhere. The tricky bit, and usually there's a tricky bit, the tricky bit is remembering to do it. So I've just taught it to you, hopefully do it a few more times and you then know how to do it. So the tricky bit is then, okay, how's that going to show up in your life? How can you apply that? You have to break patterns and habits. That's all we are, a collection of patterns and habits. So when I first started trying to learn how to do that, sure, I did it in my yoga practice, but if you're not doing that at the moment, I put stickers, little stickers, just in a few obvious places around my house. One on the steering wheel of my car, one by the jug where I boil a cup of tea, one by your desk or some other favourite place that you know you're going to sit. And I would habitually, when I saw the sticker, it was like, oh, that's right, that. And I'd take, say, five ujai breaths, and I would feel it bring me all together in one piece and one place at one time, right within my own skin. And that was enough. I'd then carry on with what I was doing. But what happened over time is I grew to love that feeling of being present, of being calm. So I would miss it. And even when I didn't see a sticker, I'd have a moment of recognising, oh my God, I'm stressed, or oh God, I've just yelled at the kids, or a feeling that I was uptight, and it would be like, do the breath. And so over time it has integrated itself into my life completely. It's completely organic. I don't do it all the time. It's not something, don't set that up as an expectation. You won't go through your life doing a ujai breath. You're not meant to. Yoga has different breaths for different scenarios, but use it as like your own medicine to bring you back to calmness and centre when you recognise that you've flipped out or freaked out or spaced out or whatever out that you do. So I sincerely hope that's helpful for you, and I really do hope that's made sense the way that I've taught it. Namaste.